This is Owen Pappoe, and you're watching the Jboy Show.
Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Radio Row. Very excited to have new Auburn coach Brian Harsin here. Coach, it's exciting to meet you. I appreciate you taking some time. I know you've done a lot of talking today. The first thing I want to talk to you about while I got you here is roster structure. We hear about it in the NFL all the time. College football, we really don't hear a lot about it. Taking a new job, having to balance a roster to be able to maintain success. How much of a challenge is it taking a new job, you've been at multiple places, to work on balancing that roster to get it where you can compete year in and year out without losing too much at once?
Well, the first thing about the roster, you look at numbers. How many do we have scholarship-wise at this position? How many walk-on players do we have? And then what you don't know is at what level. All right, that's the thing. You know, do we have three deep here? Do we need three of our best players playing guard? Or do we need this guard to move to tackle or this guard to move to center? And so, you know, when you don't know the roster, what you end up doing is you get a chance to see those guys, and then you start to move things around and say, all right, you know, for our schemes and what we want to do, you fit best here. And then you having that conversation with those players at that time. And so management is about numbers. It's about making sure that you have the depth that you need, but also it's not just depth, it's competition. How do you create the most competition, have the best depth you possibly can on the team in order to get the very best out of your players each and every day? And that just takes time getting to know them.
Definitely. And Coach, you know, having played quarterback yourself, looking at the offense, being able to go from the gun, going under center, being multiple, giving different looks to the defense. How much of a help is it to a quarterback, whether it be Bo Nix, anybody on the roster, TJ Finley, like you said, I love what you said up there about competing. Every year you got to compete. To be able to go under center, not only get your pre-snap read on where the safeties are, how many guys are in the box, but instead of having to look at the ball when you catch it out of the shotgun, you can see the rotation after the snap. How important is that, and how much do you think that's going to help the quarterback?
You just said it all. I mean, you know this position as well as I do. I mean, that's really what it sounds like. It's all those things. I mean, you get being under center, you learn timing. All right. If you don't understand timing, it's hard to really get a good feel for your progression and your footwork that goes along with it. Being under center, you can get the ball to the tailback and be downhill. You give your tailback a chance to see the hole, hit it, and be full speed when he does. Being under center, the play action. Watch Peyton Manning.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I always loved it. Peyton Manning was my guy, right? Play action and how he did it. You can get the linebackers and defense to step up and safeties, hopefully, and you got a big play opportunity from that. But I think it's just a part of the game in our system. You watch it in the NFL, guys are under center. I don't want to be in the gun all the time when it's 4th and 1. There's a time for that. There's opportunities for that. Sometimes you got to get under center and you got to hand the ball off and go get that 1 yard. So it's things like that I think are important for us in our systems. I think it's an advantage for the offense when your tailback's in the eye and there's not an offset for a defense to really decide, they're offset here, and there's a lot of cheats and there's no tendencies that way. And it's just part of football, and it always has been for me, and it always will be as long as I'm going to be on the offensive side and working with that group.
Yes, sir, Coach. And just a couple more questions here with new Auburn head coach Brian Harsin. Very excited to talk to him, pick his brain a little bit. You know, talking about going to a new place, how important is it to be malleable to the personnel that you have instead of being stubborn and stuck in identity? Obviously, it takes 2 or 3 cycles. Not saying you don't have the players you want, but to get it to the identity you have, how important as a new coach in a new league is it to be able to conform to the guys to what you want to do and eventually do what you had planned?
Sure. Yeah, you obviously have a belief in the schemes that you want to run. Yeah. Right? You have your systems. But here's a great thing, in my opinion, that coaches really need to understand. If you want to be an elite coach, then you better be the type of coach that can get the group of players you're working with to go out there and play at the level you want them to. All right? So what does that mean? No, we're not going to run triple option, right? So,
Yes,
but at the same time, if the schemes I've used that I really like don't fit the personnel, then guess what? Grow as a coach.
Yeah.
You need to be the coach that those players need you to be so they can win games and be successful. And if you can't do that as a coach, if you're too stubborn to do that, you know, that's where you're going to have issues. So learn, grow, develop yourself as a coach, learn new schemes. There's a lot of great ways out there to score points. If that fits you best, then build towards what you have in your personnel. Obviously add in the things that you believe and make sure that they can do that along the way, and you'll start building towards the systems that you really want. But It does start there, but you still got to be flexible, and you got to understand, like, hey, this is what we have, and if we don't have any tight ends, well, we're gonna have to figure that out. Maybe use no lineman, but that may not be the personnel group we spend the most time in, for example.
And my last question for you before I let you go, as a guy that is from Boise, that played at Boise, making the decision to come down to Auburn, I'm not going to ask you about the heat or anything. I know deep down at night, you're as competitive as anybody out there. And you want to, at the end of the day, when you get done and hang it up, be able to say, I competed in the league against the best because you think you are the best or one of the best. I'm not saying you're cocky or anything like that, but just you're a competitor. How important is it to you to get down to this league and to be able to coach in this league and see how you do, good, bad, or indifferent, even though I think it's going to be pretty daggum good, to be able to, at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, no, I gave it a shot, and I tried to fight the biggest boys, and I won.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of competing. It's not just about me. It's about the staff. It's about the coordinators that we brought in, because it's the same mindset. It's about the players on our team believing that you came to Auburn to win championships, not just to come to Auburn. And that's, as a competitor, that's what drives me, is you want to play the best, you need to beat the best, to put yourself in the position to be the best, right? So Auburn gives you that opportunity. The SEC gives you that opportunity, and it's out of my comfort zone. That's the other part too. You want to grow and develop, get out of your comfort zone, but also believe in yourself and the things that you're doing, that you can be successful. And when we can get that mentality within our program, then we'll have a chance to be a team that wins and wins consistently, and that we can bring other players and coaches in that also want to be a part of that.
Definitely. Coach, I really appreciate your time. Best of luck. Going to be keeping track of you, and excited to talk to you again at some point. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Jboy Show, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We're out of here. We'll talk to you later. Win in the water cooler, baby. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Radio Row on Thursday. Excited to be here with Auburn star linebacker Owen Pappoe. Owen, I appreciate you joining us, man. You're looking clean, got the nice button, went with the bow tie. I really enjoyed that choice, man.
I appreciate that, man. I try to look as sharp as I can, man. My girl kind of helped me out with this, too.
Okay. Smart, man.
Yeah.
Smart, man. Well, let's talk a little defense, man. I know everybody asks you, these crazy questions, whatever. In the middle of that defense, looking at the guys you got around you, how excited are you about the diversity of the scheme with Coach Mason and how that's going to prepare all you guys, not only for this season, but for the next level when you have a chance?
Man, it just shows your versatility as a player, and also shows coaches on the next level that you can play in any scheme. You know what I'm saying? But the way Coach Mason has his defense set up, man, guys are going to be able to make plays from everywhere.
Yeah, and that's huge. And as much as you guys rely on each other, being able to run zone, being able to run man, give me one thing when you're in the middle that you're looking at. And I don't want the special sauce. I ain't trying to give no offenses any inclusion on what's going on. You reading through the triangle? You looking at guards? What are you seeing? Tell the people what you're seeing.
Yeah, everything, man. Reading through the triangles, man. Also watching film, man. You can pick up on guys' tendencies. So it might be a guard. He's about to pull. He likes to lean far back on his heels, or a tackle if you blitzing off the edge. Timing up the snap count, he may like to, shimmy his leg a little bit right before the quarterback, steps the ball. So just little things like that you pick up on that help you play faster.
Yeah, and in today's game, the offenses, we know how diverse they are. It looks like they're getting wider the longer we go, getting spread out. How important is it, and you have the ability to do this, to not only be able to stop the run in the middle, but not be a liability in coverage so you can play more snaps, get more tape?
Right. One of my biggest assets as a player is my speed and ability to cover. So that's huge, man. Like you said, man, the game's spreading out. Guys throwing the ball more, even on third and short sometimes too. So we got to be able to be on the field and run. So yeah. Definitely.
A couple more questions. I'm gonna let you go. We're here at Owen Pappoe. Don't get in front of this man with the ball. I'm just telling you. Going into this season, you got a new coach. Yeah. We're hearing about Bama. We're hearing about LSU. We're hearing about A&M. You got a chip on your shoulder?
Of course, man. One of the main messages that, me personally been talking to the team is that, man, we just control what we can control.
Exactly.
We know everybody's counting us out. Like I saw the other day, just recently, they just said we got a less than 1% chance to win. All that stuff doesn't matter, man. The pen is in our hand. This is our story to write, and how we can write that story is through our actions that we do every day on the field. So, yeah.
Whew, you get me fired up over here, man. Tell the Auburn fans what they can expect on the field. And I ain't talking about wins or losses, but what can Auburn fans expect from the players on the field? Because I know you guys are going to be willing to die for each other out there.
A lot of energy, man. This offseason, we've become closer as brothers off the field, and that's really going to show on the field. So, yeah.
Definitely. Well, Owen, I appreciate it, my friend. Good luck to you. You got a heck of a career ahead of you. I can't wait to watch you. Appreciate everybody at home. Make sure you subscribe to the Jboy Show. And, you already know. You know what it is. All right, thejboyshow.com. Grab some of that merch. And, Owen, we got some as well for you right here, man. If that's all right for you to take. I'd like to tell you a little merchandise if it's all right.
Little NIL action going on.
Oh, I know, NIL right here, live NIL. We appreciate you. Check us out. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another segment from Radio Row as we wind down here this week at SEC Media Days. Want to bring on a former great Auburn quarterback, Charlie Trotman, and I want to talk some quarterback play here. Charlie, number one, I appreciate you joining us.
Oh, that's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, something that we've talked about a lot with the transition from the Gus Malzahn system to a Mike Bobo system is how the quarterback's going to be able to go through progressions, not only from the shotgun, something we talked about with Greg McElroy, where you have to look at the ball, catch it, and then look up, but being able to go under center, get your drop, and see the defense, even pre-snap see the defense. How much help do you think that's going to give Bo Nix, not only during the game, but in preparation that the defense knows that now?
Well, being under center gives you a great opportunity to play action. That's the big thing. The play action is going to give Bo an extra second or so to look downfield and to make his progressions. I think it's going to be critical with Tank Bigsby as your tailback, to get some great play action fakes in there and, hold those linebackers, hold the safeties in place, and it'll allow your pass routes to become more open. It'll allow the complementary pass routes to work together so that they get receivers open. So I really think that this is going to be a more sophisticated passing attack. It's going to give Bo an opportunity to have, some check downs, some, throws to Tank Bigsby and maybe some of the other safety valves that, when he would get in trouble before he would have to run. Now he'll have a place to go with the ball, and he won't have to run all the time.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And having a back as talented as Tank Bigsby helps out with that play-action game. And Auburn, we've talked about the offensive tackle position, slows down those defensive ends a little bit when they don't know when the play-action's coming instead of being in the gun and they know the launch point. But, Charlie, another thing that I see when I look at this offense, I look at Mike Bobo, a lot of people say, oh, well, he just wants to run the ball, and they're just going to run a bunch of zone because they don't want to go big on big in gap scheme. But when you watch him at Colorado State, they led the conference in passing for 2 years. Mike Bobo, to me, has a little more in the bag than people are giving him credit for.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that Mike Bobo likes to throw the football.
He's a former quarterback,
he's a
right?
former quarterback. He wants to throw the football. We were talking to Aaron Murray, if you remember Aaron Murray, who was quarterback at Georgia and broke records at Georgia. Mike Bobo was his offensive coordinator. So, no, I think he'll play to the talent level of his quarterback. And I think Bo Nix has got a quarterback that's extremely talented. He needed to work on his mechanics a little bit. Bo's so strong, he could throw the ball off his back foot. Yeah. He could throw the ball, in weird arm motions and arm slots. So sometimes you don't need to do that. And sometimes you need your mechanics to be a little bit better. And I think Coach Bobo has worked with Bo on that. He's worked on it, in my opinion, religiously to make sure that he gets it right.
Yeah, without a doubt. In the Gus Malzahn, regime, the three things we didn't really see were aliens, Bigfoot, and a consistent passing game to the tight end. Do you think we're going to see that this year? It looked like in the spring. I think it was kind of an ode to the Auburn faithful. The first play was a play action, a little over to the tight end that they hit. I about fell out of my chair when I saw it because I hadn't seen it in so long.
Yeah, it got a huge ovation too, And I hadn't heard it described like that with the aliens and so forth. But I would say that the tight end position is loaded.
They really are.
I mean, we have so many good tight ends that I think are capable of making big plays for Auburn. I'm hoping that Auburn can get the ball to them on a consistent basis. I know the tight ends in the spring game were in a lot of different locations. They were kind of in the traditional position, in the H-back position, and kind of a slot position. And so it looks to me like that Mike Bobo and Coach Harsin are going to try to use that tight end to get, positions on linebackers and get positions on safety so that you can run good patterns. And if you get a really good tight end who runs a good pattern, he's hard to cover for a linebacker.
Exactly right. He's trying like a small forward trying to get a rebound from a power forward. Being able to attack the seams, one thing too. Ohio State's the only way they scored against Alabama when they hit Ruckert and cover two right in that seam between the safety and the linebackers. But a couple more questions for you. I love talking to you because I know you know what you're talking about. We talk about offense. It's all fun. I want to talk about defense for a second. Okay. Derek Mason, to me, was one of the best hires of the offseason, a guy that knows defense in and out. Actually went from running the 3-4 in Stanford to come and having here in the SEC and realizing, we probably need to run some 4 down too. But when you look at the back end of this defense, if they can get a consistent pass rush, and if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But if they get a consistent pass rush, this back end can be very dangerous. I mean, they go 3-4 deep at corner of legit possible NFL guys. Drayshawn Miller coming adding as well by Darius Knight and Donovan Kaufman, maybe the best of the bunch who played for Derek Mason at Vanderbilt. How excited are you about this defense as a whole?
I'm really excited about it. And as you said, I think the key is getting pressure on the quarterback. If we can do that, if Derek Hall and some of those other guys that, can have big years, even J.J. Pegues, who's moving over there, I think, he's potentially going to be a really, really good defensive lineman, good defensive end. So I love our linebackers. I think linebacker and the defensive back position, both safeties and corners and nickel, I think are the strong suit of the Auburn team as a whole.
I agree.
And I'm hoping that if they can get, not only with your defensive line have to have a great pass rush, but you got to be able to stop the run. And so if Auburn can do a good job stopping the run and put some pressure on the passer, I think this defense could be a really, really elite type defense.
Without a doubt. And watching, you look at Derek Hall's body type and you see his get off, Nick Eason, and I love Ronnie Garner. My dad and Ronnie Garner buddies and played, that. And he's moved on, but Nick Eason, I love that hire. I think he's going to give Derek a few more pass rush moves. I think it kind of cost Big Cat and him or bull rushing everybody last year. You're not going to bull rush Alex Leatherwood or these guys from A&M or whatever, but if they get some pass rush moves, that can be dangerous. My last question for you, how big is week 3 at Penn State? They've announced it's going to be a whiteout. That's question 1. They always say don't ask 2-part questions. I mean, I didn't go to journalism school really, but they say that. At least that's what I've been told in the first 10 months of doing this. And the second one is, when you're looking at the first 2 games, in my opinion, there's 2 theories of thought. 1, very vanilla, don't show them anything, have them guessing. Or 2, show them a lot, have them make them understand all the formations, have to go through all the formations and the preparation. Which one would you pull out? Because I would go with the second, because those wide receivers got to catch some balls. They're brand spanking new, Charlie.
Yeah, I think the second would be preferable because – with the guys like Capers and Hudson and, they're very talented and they're big. These are guys that are big. Some of them are 6'4" and so forth. But I think that if you show what you're going to do, it doesn't really make any difference because they're going to figure out from what you did in past games. They're going to look at past games with Coach Bobo and Coach Harsin. They're going to know what they are going to do. They're going to know the plays you're going to run. They're going to know the formations. So I think you go ahead and put those into play and make sure that your guys are comfortable running it. Because you don't want to go up to State College and not be able to run your plays that it's going to take to win. But I think that's a springboard game.
Yeah,
I think that it's going to either give Auburn an opportunity to go, maybe 9-3 or 10-2 if they could win both that game and then the game, on the road at LSU. I think those are both huge games. If Auburn can do well in both those games, I think they can write their own record. But if they struggle at Penn State, it could be a difficult year.
Yeah. And we know football's like life. It's a game of momentum and angles. And Charlie, man, tell everybody where they can find your stuff. I know you've got a lot going on right now. Where can they find your content? Because it is awesome, my friend.
Yeah, we're on. I'm on Mondays and Fridays on ESPN The Ticket in Montgomery. It's WTXK, and you can find us with Doug Amos and with Daryl Dappridge, and we're on the radio every Monday and every Friday.
Awesome. Well, everybody check that out. It was great to interview you. Great to see Auburn legend right here, Charlie Trotman at quarterback, Cliff Hare Award winner as well, Birmingham Stallions as well, if I recall correctly. Right. But again, make sure you go to the jboyshow.com. Make sure you subscribe Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. We're winning the water cooler. You're not going to find the X's and O's broken down better anywhere else, and we are just getting started. Kind of like Brian Harsin. We'll talk to you soon.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.